Hello and welcome back to the garden. In this video I'm going to show you how you can grow Crocosmia from seed. Crocosmias are really great hardy perennials. They light up our borders from midsummer onwards with beautiful flaming colours of reds, yellows and oranges. We wouldn't be without them. We do have a number of Crocosmias in this garden, one of which is Crocosmia Lucifer, which is a very tall red variety, and we grew that a number of years ago from corms. So Crocosmias can be grown in a variety of ways. You can grow them from corms, and you can grow them from seeds, and you can grow them from dividing established clumps. We planted some corms in spring from the beautiful cultivar George Davison, and it's a lovely yellow colour, and we are really happy to find that only one of them has actually flowered this year. So this is the beautiful George Davison. It's like a lovely orangey kind of yellow. There's like an orange towards the back, but inside the actual flower itself is definitely a yellow. It's such a beautiful plant, and there is a video that I can show you if I point it to you on the screen and in the description on how to grow Crocosmias from corms. So this is a rare one. This is actually flowered, but usually during the first year you normally just get them growing just like that. So this is how we planted them in these module trays, and if I just pull out a clump for you, so that would be just one of the corms that we grew from spring. So all we did with that is just pop that into a larger pot, and that's how it is now. But as I said, all of these other ones haven't grown any flowers, but this one has just decided to greet us with that beautiful flower head. So what I'm going to talk about today is how to grow Crocosmias from seed. So now is the time to be collecting seed. We have two clumps of Crocosmia Lucifer in our garden, one at the front and one at the back. The one at the front usually flowers slightly earlier than the one in the back, and it's the one in the front that we have collected the seed from. And when you look at the seed that's ready for collection, you'll see the seed capsules just beginning to open. So they start to turn a brown colour, and inside you start to see the very peaking of those lovely kind of red looking seeds. So the seeds look a little bit to me like dried cranberries. That's what I like to think of them of. But the actual seed pods, if you just break away the seed pods and then just pop them into a paper bag just like this, an envelope, and then take them to where you're going to sow them. Now the trick with Crocosmias is to sow them fresh. They don't like to be stored. The viability of the seed, if you leave it till sowing in the spring, is not guaranteed at all. You're best to sow them as soon as they're ripe and get them planted. If you sow them any later, your germination rates are going to be pretty much zero. They do need to be quite fresh in order to germinate. We sown some seed of our Crocosmia Lucifer this time last year. They germinated within a number of weeks, and you can just see those little leaves starting to prick out from the compost. Now we sown them into a regular tray and just covered it with vermiculite, and then come the spring, when they had all grown a little bit bigger, we then transplanted them into individual cells on module trays and then grew them on. And this is what we're getting now, kind of like a year on. So this is what kind of size you'd be expecting a year later when you grow them from seed. So there's a big difference when you do grow from corms. So they were planted in the springtime, and these are grown from seed last year. So you can see obviously these are going to flower from corms next year. These probably won't. They'll probably take a further year, so probably looking at 3 years before the ones you grow from seed will actually flower. So it depends how you want to do it. The corms are not that expensive, but obviously if you have seeds, the seeds are free, and you can grow many more from just one seed pod. You can grow loads and loads of new Crocosmias. So these are all baby Crocosmia Lucifers. So we're going to grow some more. I'm going to show you how to do it in this video. So what I'm using for this is just a regular module tray filled with multi-purpose compost. So onto the seed. Now the seeds are absolutely fascinating. So these are the seed pods, and you can just see that when they are ripe and ready, those brown seed capsules will start to come away, and you'll be able to see those red seeds inside. So if we just break them with our hands, we can just release those beautiful seeds. And like I said, they do look to me a little bit like dried cranberries. Such a lovely deep red colour. So because they are quite easy to handle, all I'm going to do is just pop one into each one of these cells. And there you go. And it's just remarkable that each one of these potentially can be a whole new plant. Absolutely fascinating. There's one already in there. Take that there. So just one per module. And this will save you the trouble of having to prick them out later on. And then with them nicely put over the top, just with some vermiculite, you can just cover each one of those over. I prefer to use vermiculite for all my seed sowing, but it's not necessary if you've not got it. Just put some more compost over the top, just enough so you can no longer see the seeds. And then lastly, just press them down so the seed's in really good contact with the compost beneath. And then what we'll do is we'll place this whole tray into another tray of water and let the water seep up from the bottom, and that will just thoroughly make sure that the whole of this tray is watered. And what you'll notice if you use vermiculite, that this very pale brown will start to turn a darker brown once all that moisture has reached the top, and that's when you know that the actual seeds and the whole compost is thoroughly wet. You can then take it out of that tray and then put them somewhere. We had these in our summer house last year. We overwintered the whole tray in the summer house. So if you do grow them, they'll germinate within a number of weeks, but you're best probably giving them a little bit of protection from the winter. So don't plant them out, leave them somewhere sheltered in a cold frame or cold greenhouse, or in our case just in a summer house, unheated summer house, and they will just tick over during the winter, and then in the spring you'll then be able to get them pricked out or transplanted into more larger containers. So they're probably, because I'm growing these into module trays, they'd probably be okay maybe even till almost the summertime before they'll probably need to be transplanted into larger containers. They are fairly slow growing in terms of growing these from seeds, so you don't have to rush too much on getting them transplanted. So that is all the seeds sown. Just a little bit about how to grow Crocosmia. Crocosmias prefer a really good sunny position. They can tolerate some shade, but not full shade. Part shade will be fine, but ideally position these in sunshine. They do prefer a moistest kind of soil, but not too soggy. They like a moist, free draining soil. And I know that's a bit of a contradiction. A lot of people say that a lot of plants need this moist, free drain soil, and it's not an easy combination to get. But so long as it's not sitting in water, particularly during the winter time, then the soil will be fine. In terms of care, they don't really get any kind of pests or diseases. You might find sometimes they might get red spider mite, and that's when you start to see holes within the leaves and they do start to go a little bit brown. They can go brown in summertime if you've got very, very free draining soil and there's not enough moisture. So in order to kind of keep the moisture within the soil, I do suggest in the springtime you give these plants a really good mulch with something organic. So maybe some manure or some compost, homemade compost, just to keep the fertility good and also try and hold on to a little bit of moisture. Every 3 to 5 years, if you start to see your clump starting to lose vigour and the flowering potential is starting to be going not as good, then it's a good idea to dig the clumps up and divide them and remove the old corms. Crocosmias grow by producing new corms every year, and the old one is literally just underneath the newest one. So on the very top you'll have this year's corm, and then as you go down those rings you'll find that the oldest corms are at the very bottom. Now we have a video that we've done a number of years ago on how to divide Crocosmias and how to remove the old corms and how to reinvigorate them, so I'll leave a link to that on the screen and also in the description so you can see how it's done. But essentially you're removing all the old corms, leaving just the one that's on top, which is the newest, and replanting, and that way you keep your clumps nice and healthy, nice and fresh, and maintain a really good flowering potential. When you're growing Crocosmias from seed, not all plants will come true from the plant that you're growing them from. Crocosmia Lucifer is a fairly good one. It does generally come true from the actual parent plant, and what I mean by that is you generally get Crocosmia plants from seed, but some cultivars you may not get the plant that you're looking for that your parent plant was. So just be aware of that. If I try and grow the seed of George Davison, for example, the seed may not be George Davison when the plant is grown and flowers. So if you do want to have identical, genetically identical plants, you're better dividing your clumps or growing them from corms. But if you do want to have a go and have a play and see what you get, you might come up with a whole new cultivar, who knows, then going by planting from seed is the way to go for you. So don't also forget to label your tray so you know what is growing in these lovely seed trays. I will leave the video there. If you do have any questions or comments, please drop them in the comments box below the video. Please hit that like button, please subscribe, and we will see you very, very soon on the next video. In the meantime, please do take care and happy gardening.